Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV. Da 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 da. Here to tell you about my first and actually only linear amplifier. It was the Drake L4B. I'm going to put that in the advanced search box as a phrase for Google and show you the hits that I get, and we'll explore and look at it just a little bit. But I bought this thing. Well, let's just go ahead and do that instead of just sitting there and staring at this page. This is the one I like right here because it shows the amplifier inside and out, sideways, upside down, and backwards. There are the final amplifier tubes, two 3-500Z vacuum tubes. I bought this linear amplifier when I lived in Hartford, or actually Farmington, Connecticut. Went downtown, and back then the limit was 1,000 watts DC plate power input. I believe it was 2,000 watts PEP on SSB, but on CW it was 1,000 watts plate power input, which amounts in Class B or Class AB, which this amplifier was, to about 50% or 500 watts output. Nowadays we get 1,500 watts PEP regardless of mode, so we're in effect. And that's the output. So the input, by doing a little mathematics, can be as high as about 3,000 watts to the plate, DC plate power input. So we're talking a good threefold increase, or almost 5 decibels stronger. But I lived in Farmington, Connecticut, in a place called the Home for Wayward Hams. I moved there in February of 1977 when I went to work for ARRL headquarters, W1AW station. Well, we had a basement down in that house that had the basement smell, the classic basement smell of a suburban house. We had our ham radios down there and a 90-foot tower in the backyard, and I bought this Drake L4B to go with my T4X and R4A. So my station looked a great deal like this right here, except for these two items over here on the right. And there's a Hallicrafters TO keyer right up there. Let's click on that. The Hallicrafters TO keyer. I actually had one of those too. So that's the way it was. This is the T. Looks like the T4XB and the R4B, but they look very much like the radios I had. There's the linear amplifier. So go back to the images. This thing was very well made. It performed flawlessly for 1,000 watts DC plate power input. Plate dissipation rating 500 watts for each tube. 2 of them in parallel. This was a brick on the key type amplifier for amateur radio applications. CW Hound Dog's dream come true, if that person is a QRO operator, high power. There are the tubes in action. They're a little different looking here. The plates look a little bit different. But this was the beast. And I discovered, after just a little while, that high power didn't thrill me that much. And I had my station in the basement of that house, but I also had access to all of the equipment at W1AW. So all I had to do was stay after work if I wanted to stay up in the wee hours of the morning and use that station. And they had gear that was even better than mine, obviously, and antennas that were vastly better than ours, and a call sign that would attract attention. So if I really wanted to make some killer contacts, that's what I would do. Is I would stay after work and fool around with that equipment at W1AW. But this was the Drake L4B linear amplifier, a very high quality piece of equipment indeed. My first amplifier, I believe I bought it in 1977 or 1978, and my only linear amplifier. I sold it when I left that place and moved to Miami, and I've never had a linear amplifier since, because I have discovered that I like QRP a great deal more than QRO. Don't ask me why. I prefer to be weak rather than strong. But maybe, I guess it's the David and Goliath thing. When David beats Goliath in a pileup, that's really something. But if you are Goliath, you have a whole bunch of Davids trying to beat you, and you win, doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. So, maybe that's it. I don't know. I think it's just something in the blood. QRP operator, somewhere in a universe that has nebulae that look like this, the third planet in orbit around a star that looks something like that. Right there. Stan Gibilisco, W1GV, da 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 da. Signing off, saying 73, which means best regards in ham radio jargon. And so long, which means da 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 da.